It's always like your birthday with a package from China, so let's go. Hey, welcome back to the channel, it's awesome that you're tuning in, because in this video we are going to take a close look not at the Mega Drive 2, but the Super Drive number 2. I can tell you when you're going to look into Sega systems and you're looking at Ali-Express, Wish or whatsoever, oh boy, there is such a jungle out there of different devices. And some of them are good, but some are absolutely horrible. So what's including package? It comes with a game console, a joystick, the cable, the power supply, 2 controllers, so everything there you're going to need. But this particular, let's say, Super Drive 2 is a device that actually can play every single thing that you want to when it comes to the 16-bit era. So we have a system itself, we have the power supply, I already mentioned that. We do have like a very flimsy power supply, like a very cheap one. Let me check what kind of voltage. This is 9 volt 300 amps, so not a lot. Then we have like the, oh boy, we're just going to have like ourselves a normal AV out. There is no HDMI functionality. Oh, it gives me like the adapter. And of course the toilet paper manual deluxe. Because that's actually what it is. It's just a piece of toilet paper that basically explains everything, how you need to connect it. But this is what makes it really interesting. This very strange looking Mega Game Expert. I'm curious what are we going to get and what this actually is. Because it's selling this like a very nice looking device with an SD card, an Elite Pro 4GB. Don't know if this is an original brand or a knockoff, whatever. But it also says over here the HB. So that's it basically what we're going to get. So we can get rid of the box. Let's take a close look at the system itself. The system itself, yeah, what can I say about it? So it will have like the same mold like the Mega Drive 2, but it is nothing like it. To begin with, the on and off switch. Everything feels super cheap, very cheap. They will have like, of course, the dust covers, seems to be looking okay. But at the back there is no way of adding this thing to our Mega CD2. So it's just a thing, it's just basic as it can be. At the back we're going to get ourselves 2 connections, the input for the power supply and of course the S-video out. And at the front we're going to get ourselves the 2 controller ports. But how about the controllers? That is a different story. So the D-pad in general is just your floating D-pad that you're also going to see with a lot of these controllers. Then we're going to get a very long cable, and I'm not surprised to see for this cheap knockoff or this cheap Mega Drive thing, I've got actually some okay buttons. You can see when I'm pressing a single button, not everything is going to start moving. That is where you're going to get with the very cheap ones. But in overall, like I would say, for a cheap console, the controller is not that bad. And you cannot break it, because that also happens with some of these things. And the first thing I wanted to do is basically using the adapter on my power supply. But you can see like, it's already broken. So let's get ourselves a better one. But you know what's kind of interesting? So when you're going to powering on the system itself, there are even some built-in games in this machine. So let's take a close look at the first before we're going to plug in the cartridge or any other game. Alright, so let's see what we're going to get inside the system. Yeah, we're just going to get 12 game, Shove It, Kokushin, then we have like Sonic the Hedgehog, it's Pac-Man I guess, Tetris. But let's start with Sonic the Hedgehog. Let's do a quick gameplay, just see what we're actually going to get. You do see like a lot of interference. It's absolutely a horrible like signal that comes out of this thing. So I can hear it's a PAL game that actually, that's the reason why it runs so freaking slow. Music absolutely like horrible, so I think they're using this like Firecore clone thing, like the first generation of Sega system that we've seen before. I already mentioned like the feel of the controller is not bad at all, but also when you play actually with it, it's not bad. I'm surprised with this, absolutely surprised. So the device came with this, yeah, that's weird looking Mega Game Expert. So let's plug this thing in and let's see what we're actually going to get. And just to be honest, like this is the weirdest system I've ever seen. So there were 2 pages with the games. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe this is a flash card whatsoever. But when you're going to plug this thing in, you're going to power it on. What you're actually going to get are more pages. So then we have like, it takes a couple of seconds. Then we have like 1 out of 4. So when you go to the 3rd page, now we're actually saying Firecore. And we have some more games on here. But the kind of funny is like, now it's enabling the SD card mode. And we can actually like load up into the SD card. So through this way you can basically like add yourself the game that you want to add and actually play some games. It's kind of weird configuration. Now we're into the fire core that I didn't like showing you in the first, let's say, part of the, let's say, the menu. It's kind of weird. Absolutely weird. But so far I can see every single game, doesn't matter like how they will like implement on the cartridge. They seem to be running on PAL and very slow. But every time when you're resetting the system, the first time it will load up like a very long time, but after like say a couple of seconds now it loads up the page. And of course the audio sounds completely messed up. Especially that weird tune, that beep beep beep, that doesn't sound like it should be. Okay, so let's try another game, and I just wanted to see what I'm actually going to get. All the sound effects are here. And of course I'm going to try out if we can like basically play some other games, original games, and how far we can push it. And if it like accepts original EverDrives, stuff like that. Okay, so the first test I wanted to try the Mega EverDrive. It's kind of funny to see that we actually can just play a game. So that's kind of cool. Let's see if we can get the full 60 FPS speed. Nah, not with this game. Doesn't matter. But seems to be working like a charm. But the unfortunate thing is, if you want to play the configuration of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it is not working. So the system doesn't recognize the dual cartridge configuration. Let's boot it up again and let's see. Nope, it only supports Sonic 3 and Knuckles and not a combination card. Boo-hoo. Next up, of course, the sound test. And that's going to be Street of Rage. The kind of funny thing is, like, you will see that this is actually running on a different kind of, let's say, like region. Because it shows the Japanese ROM and it sounds completely messed up. My ears are bleeding! Alright, so I accidentally bumped this camera, but the thing is absolutely cool. Like every single cartridge I slap on this thing besides the Sonic 3 Knuckles seems to be working. Also the sync button configuration seems to be working perfectly. Another thing I wanted to see, let's pause the game, let's see if I'm going to plug in a different controller if it actually works besides this one. It's, by the way, not bad at all. Alright, so next up let's try a little bit with the original controller, and it works without any problems. Kind of cool that we also can use original controls. That's always like the question with these things. And if you're wondering if Virtual Racer does work or doesn't work, it doesn't work because it goes straight into the normal menu when plugging in the game. Okay, so I wanted to see what I were going to find in the inside, and I must say that this thing is made so really cheap. So when you're looking at the springs over here, you can see like this is one of those things that absolutely breaks within like a year or so. I've seen it so many times. Also, the shells have been put together with these very tiny Parkers, and it's kind of laughable to see like there's almost nothing inside here. So they have like the front PCB that states like 2015. So what I understand of like when I bought this product, it was brand new, like posted on Ali-Exress, but it seems to be like it's already a couple of years old. So then we have over here like the chip. Let's see what it says, like the tiny PCB with the big cartridge slot. And I must say, like, the games are absolutely nightmare to get out. There's not a lot of information on here. It only says like NVMe ROM or something like that. So there's not a lot of information. And then of course we have this tiny PCB that basically connects like the cables and the power supply. So this actually what you're going to get in the inside, and that's also the reason why it doesn't weigh that much. Before I even did an unboxing, I know there was something they're going to be messing up. I must say I was unfortunate right with this. But this one not the controller. The controller don't feel like the same quality, like especially the weight, but I can tell you this thing plays quite nice. Then we're having of course the Sega Drive or the Mega Drive or Super Drive 2. It doesn't even matter how this bloody thing calls. I must say that it's kind of funny, but also quite disappointing. Like the way that it's made it with the software and this flash card, I wasn't expecting this. I was thinking, hey, you slap it in and you're just going to get a flash card, but actually no. you're just going to get yourself like something that I've never seen before. But let's open it up just for fun, just to see what are we going to get in the inside. Because is this actually like a normal flash card, or is this something... Oh, it's even a pain on the ass I'm opening up. Do I do it like that? Do I just pull it? And you know, like, that is what I mean, like being careful with these bloody things. Ah! Oh boy, the reason I didn't want to open it up is because I'm going to ruin the case, and I did. Nevertheless, we're going to get ourselves the code over here, the FBC110 version 2.5, and this has like 2009, 08 to 7, so it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Over here, like the chip that says DMC, but I think this is not our typical like flash card that you can find. And I see things like the software also. Oh, they completely destroyed the freaking screw. Yep, they completely messed it up. So getting this thing loose is going to be a nightmare. Is there anything else? There's nothing much than one chip over here that I can see. But there's no way of getting this loose. Or do I? Yes. Oh, Wicked found a way. Just use a bigger screwdriver. Yeah. Then let's see what we're going to find on the other side. Another code over here. But it doesn't make any sense to me. Same code over here, but here it says like that is version 1.2. But this is not your typical cartridge. There you can see like it's also like the form factor, everything. I'm guessing this thing has specially been designed for communication with this system or this super drive number 2. So when it comes to the Mega Game Expert, I think the communication way with the menu, it's kind of interesting. And yeah, you can just slap a flash card in it, so don't know why I actually didn't do that. It's kind of interesting, but also weird at the same way. But beside that, if you want to experience some old school retro games, my opinion is like there are nothing beats the original system, and this is in my opinion not the way. Everything feels very cheap and slow also when it comes to the gameplay. And no, this is just not actually not the way. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and it would be great to see you in the next video.